welcome to Playwrights Roundtable, our half-hour showcase of original plays produced right here in Central Florida by the organization Playwrights Roundtable. And today we're going to watch The World's Greatest Hypnotist, an original play written by Chuck Dent and directed by Erik Morris. So sit back and relax and enjoy The World's Greatest Hypnotist.
Look alive, Schultze. You got a new cellmate.
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
Get up, man. I don't want you too close to the door.
Oh, chill out. I ain't gonna make a break for it again. Besides, I want to see my new boyfriend.
Name's Murphy. Real quiet. Shouldn't keep you up at night. There you go. Now listen, Schultze. This one's gotta last. Parole board ain't gonna like it if you smack this one up.
Like I care.
Yeah. Well, learn. All right, Mr. Murphy. Now you just yell if you need anything, you hear?
Mr. Murphy. He talks like he's known you a while. Huh. Well, he said you were quiet. Good. At least that way no one will hear you when I break you in. What do you say to that, pal? Listen, don't make me mad. Not that it takes much. All right, let me give you the ground rules. Rule number 1, what I say goes. No arguing with the boss, and I'm the boss. Rule number 2, if you get any money from the outside, you give it to me. You never know when a little pocket change can help you out with the guards. And last, rule number 3, you are mine. You got all that? Listen, fool, you know who I am? You know how easy it would be for me to totally screw you up? One word from me and half the guys in this place will be all over you. I own this place, you got that? Looks like I'm gonna have to make you talk the old-fashioned way. By busting you in the chops!
You ever hear of a kid named Jimmy Totten?
Jimmy Totten. From Georgia.
Yeah,
What about him? You knew him?
a little.
I knew him a lot, the no-good punk. Oh, he tried to be all big and bad like the rest of us Nazis, but all he did was end up getting himself killed.
What happened to him?
He wrecked a getaway car. Some of my boys shot some punks in a drive-by. They shot back. He lost control and put the car straight into a tree. Stupid thing was, the only reason he was driving, he was too big of a wuss to shoot anybody. Oh, he talked the big game. But when push comes to shove, he failed his white brothers.
How do you know all this?
The only one who made it out in one piece was me. What's it to you?
I just wanted to be sure. My friend, have you ever heard of the magnificent Murphy?
No.
Well, in my day, I was known as the world's greatest hypnotist.
Really?
Really. I could hypnotize anyone. Men, women, and children, sheriffs and school teachers, troublemakers, and trustworthy citizens. But the ladies, oh yes, them most of all. I had it all! Jerry Simon.
Hey, how'd you know my real name?
Quiet, boy. You'll miss the moral of the story. You see, there was only one thing that I was never any good at. Hypnotizing my own flesh and blood. I could paralyze anyone else with but a single look. But somehow I could never get my own son to listen to me. And I tried. At first I didn't want to. I thought it was wrong to make him give in to me that way. But as he got older, he just stopped listening to me. started hanging out with the wrong type of people. People like you, Jerry.
Hey, stop calling me that. It's not my name anymore.
Your Nazi name means nothing to me, boy. At any rate, he started to hang out with you, listening to your hatred, your fear, your lies, your conspiracy theories, and whatever else you rats have festering in your brains. And he stopped listening to me. So I tried to hypnotize him. And do you know what happened, Mr. Simons?
I hope he kicked you in the butt like I'm going to if you don't stop calling me that.
He laughed at me. He laughed. Some hypnotist you are, he said. And then he got his things and left. Can you imagine what a crushing blow that was, Jerry? The world's greatest hypnotist was now a joke. I lost my traveling show, my house, everything. I couldn't hypnotize anyone after that. But worst of all was losing my son. That was the loss I couldn't take.
And that was Jimmy Todd.
Very good. Boy, you're smarter than you look.
All right, Mother, nobody talks to me like that.
Sit down.
Jeez, I can't control myself.
You're a very rude man, Jerry. You didn't let me finish my story. Yes, Jimmy Totten was my son. And he may have been a pain in the backside, but he was my flesh and blood. My only flesh and blood. And I failed. I must not have been a very good father. I must not have taught him right for him to want to be like you. But he deserved better than to die the way he did. And I deserve my vengeance.
Vengeance?
Oh, yes. You see, once news reached me of Jimmy's death, it was as if something inside had reawakened. A veil had been lifted. I was once again able to speak the word with power and precision. I was, in fact, better than ever, Mr. Simons. So it was an easy feat to find out where you were being held and to get myself in here with you.
What do you mean?
I have committed no crime, Mr. Simons. Yet.
No.
You begin to understand. Yes, Jerry. I'm going to kill you. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. It was an easy feat for the world's greatest hypnotist to persuade the guards to let him in here to visit you. It'll be even easier to end your miserable life. This is for my son, you Nazi piece of filth!
Screw you! Screw you! You're gonna have to do better than that to kill me! You said you lost your will once before. Well, that's what it's all about. I may be some Nazi piece of filth, but I got a lot of willpower. I'm gonna take you apart, piece by piece, bit by bit. By the time the guards can do anything about it, you're gonna be bloody meat. How do you like that? You're gonna die!
Oh, Jerry Simons, you are such a fool!
Oh yeah? I'm stronger. I've got you by the throat. And in a few seconds, I'm gonna beat your brains out. You're dead! You got that dead!
I think not.
Oh, yeah? Why not?
Because the world's greatest hypnotist didn't get where he is in life by being a fool. No, he's crafty. He's wise.
What the hell are you talking about?
Plan P. Hardigan Doomsday!
What the?
That's better. Now sit down and don't move a muscle, or I'll have Hardigan here blow your brains out.
He can't do that. That's not allowed.
But it is. He can. Every person here is under my control.
That's impossible.
I am the world's greatest hypnotist, you fool. And you killed my son. Anything is possible for me now.
What are you gonna do to me?
I'm going to leave. You are going to die.
You're gonna kill me?
No. I'm not going to kill you. I'm leaving. But what I have done is hypnotize every person in this prison. The warden, the guards, even the other prisoners. I've got them all in the palm of my hand. All I need do before I leave is to say one word, and they will come and drag you out of this cell and rip you to pieces. Every person here is programmed to kill you. And you can do nothing to defend yourself. All you can do is die. Horribly, I imagine.
You rotten bastard! At least let me defend myself!
Oh no. The world will be a better place without you. And my son can rest in peace. Hardigan, let me out. Now, Mr. Simons, I leave you with this. I want you to think of every horrible thing you've done. I want you to remember each one of your victims' faces as you hurt them or killed them. And I especially want you to remember Jimmy Totten. Lock him back in for now, Hardigan, and then escort me out. The world's greatest hypnotist must get his revenge on the world that failed him.
At least let me die like a man!
You forfeited that right when you became a Nazi. Goodbye, Mr. Simons.
What's the word, Mr. Murphy?
Freedom.
What an intense ending. And it's actually a very intense play. Look forward to talking to you about that. We're going to take a short intermission, and when we come back, we'll have a conversation with Erik and Chuck about the world's greatest hypnotist. Stay tuned.
This world rejects me.
You see, there was only one thing that I was never any good at. Hypnotizing my own flesh and blood. I could paralyze anyone else with but a single look. But somehow I could never get my own son to listen to me.
You've just seen a clip from The World's Greatest Hypnotist, an original play written by Chuck Dent and directed by Erik Morris. Now, Chuck, this play, you really reached into the depths of your imagination for some of the text of this piece. Can you tell me what your thoughts were in coming up with this idea?
Well, a couple of clues are in the names of the characters. One is Hardigan, the guard. It was a little bit of a tribute to Frank Miller and Sin City because he had a character named that. And it's kind of that hard-boiled detective, you know, crime type of thing. And so it wasn't really written as an homage to that, but I'm sure some of that informed because I'm a big fan of his work. As far as the idea for the play itself, I basically had this image of, wouldn't it be interesting to turn the tables on the bad guy in a place where he thinks he's at his most powerful. and just developed it logically from there. The hypnotist angle actually came in a little bit later in the writing because I was saying there's something weird about this guy, but what is it? And then I was like, how about I make him this incredible hypnotist guy who really can hypnotize people and really can take control of anybody, and just went from there.
Now, Erik, was this your first time with Playwrights, or your first?
This is my first time
your
with
directorial
Playwrights.
debut with
It
Playwrights?
sure was.
What was that experience like for you?
It was really rather exceptional. It was the first time in a couple of years that I've actually been back on stage and involved in doing some shows. So I really enjoyed the opportunity that Chuck and the Playwrights Roundtable gave me. So it was a really exciting piece to be working on too.
Now, what's the selection process for the director picking the play, or is it given to the director?
Well, we had interviews for
Okay.
these. We basically, what we did with this is we had them submit resumes online and then said, okay, here's who we've got, so we're going to send you the scripts, and you read them, you tell us which ones would be your 3 top choices, and then we interviewed them and offered and said, we'd like you to direct this one. We feel this is a good match for you. What do you feel about this play? That sort of thing. And in this case, it turned out to be a good marriage.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so you've got the play, you've read this material. Some of it is some very sensitive material. What our audience doesn't know is that we really had to modify it for broadcast. But for those who may have had the opportunity either in the past or recently to see this, it's some very harsh material that you're working with. What was that like for you?
Well, my background was in comedy, so obviously I had to throw a lot of that out the window to go straight in. But a lot of the language that was there and a lot of the context that was there, it was all meaningful. You know, it wasn't arbitrary. There was always a reason for it, whether it be that our prisoner is trying to exude his power or has lost his control, or there was always a reason. So it was never anything where it was like, that's not really needed. So you kind of always had to take it, you know, take it and just try and make it as clear and as true to the scenario as possible. It's not really something that you'll come across every day. Hypnotist in jail with a guy who killed his son, and the hypnotist is taking control of everything. I mean, it's not exactly your supermarket material right there. So, you know, it was just an idea of trying to make everything clear. That was the core thing, was first make it clear.
I must not have been a very good father. I must not have taught him right for him to want to be like you. But he deserved better than to die the way he did. And I deserve my vengeance.
Vengeance?
Oh, yes. You see,
One of
once
my
news reached me of
things that I've
Jimmy's
noticed
death,
with the plays is that most people tend to take just a snapshot of something like a real life moment or a situation that they can wrap their thoughts around to come up with a 10-minute one act. For you, you really ingested a lot of different thoughts. You have the racist element, you have this father who lost his son because of this gentleman, and the father is a hypnotist. How do you put all of that together to tell a one-act play and get that across to an audience?
I have no idea.
But you did.
I did. No. It's just, it goes into the mix. It's one of those things where, okay, what logically follows from this thing? Okay, I have a bad guy in jail. What's the worst thing I can think of? For me, it's someone who acts like that, because I hate that stuff. You know, that sort of nonsense. And then what would be an interesting angle for that? Okay, well, why would this hypnotist know this guy? Why would he track him down? Well, there had to be a connection. It was his son. So as I said, the hypnotist angle came in a little later because that was kind of like the Twilight Zone element of it. And just at that point, it was just a matter of, okay, let's get these elements to match and make it work, which I hope it did.
Well, what are some of the reactions that you got from the audience? Did either of you get some feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He laughs at it, but I'm actually proud of getting feedback. I think it was our second showing, we had a couple of audience members talk to the staff and complain about it being too intense. And that's exactly what you're looking for. Not everything in life is going to be cheery and sunshine, so
Yeah.
in order to actually elicit that sort of reaction from the people that you're telling the story to, that was the goal at that point in time, you know. Actually bring people into that world and, you know, feel the intensity and feel what this sort of interaction between these two individuals would be like. And yeah, very intense. And using the tools to like de-emphasize the words that would normally be emphasized that our audience here didn't get to hear, but the live audience did. Those sort of things. Just trying to make everything as real as possible. And getting that sort of reaction. I went backstage, told my guys, hey, great job. We got this feedback. They were upset that it was intense. Awesome. Way to go. Keep it up. So that's what we were looking for.
Yeah, if you tell the story truthfully, I mean, he mentioned it earlier. A lot of times, some of the stuff is just thrown in there, like, oh well, yeah, he's going to do this. He's going to say,
Bleepy bleep.
bleep 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 for 5 minutes. But it's like that doesn't really work for me. I mean, if it's true to the character, then I have no problem with some of the reaction he had there. But it's an honest reaction too. I mean, you shouldn't like the guy. You shouldn't feel anything for him. He should revulse you. So that sort of that's a valid response to that play. But then what I was curious to find out is how people reacted to Murphy, because he's kind of scary in his own way too.
Which is revealed as the play continues to open up.
Yeah. It becomes apparent after a while that the person who's in control is not who you think it is, which is one of those little twists I like to put in there a little from time to time in my plays.
Now, Erik, you were also given the opportunity to work with some very strong actors, Erik Karitsky and Brett Carson. I've seen them quite often on previous playwrights programs. What was it like to work with them? You couldn't have asked for two better characters.
I couldn't have said that better myself. Brett, Erik, and Kieran as well.
That's right.
The three of them were excellent to work with the entire time. I came into this experience not really knowing what to expect as a director. And I was able to basically give them any sort of feedback that I wanted, and they were able to take it and start developing it almost immediately. The synergy between the three of us, the four of us, I mean, was quite spectacular. So, and they'd come up with stuff on their own, and we'd bounce ideas back and forth. A lot of that fight scene that you see, even though it was pared down in this particular broadcast, a lot of that fight scene came starting from me, and then they just sort of enhanced it and developed it, and Kieran and I had worked together doing some fight choreography in the past, so we had a bit of an idea how to work together there, and we had feedback that way, and everything worked just like that fight, smoothly. A transition of an idea to a concept to there it is, to tweaking, to doing it again and again, and then getting it all there. By the end of the rehearsal process, I just basically would sit back and go, wow, that's really good, guys.
Chuck, were there any clues that you were trying to give us to let us know that the person who we thought was the innocent one actually had a darker element to him?
Yeah, some of this was implied in the script before, but he brought it out quite nicely. You'll notice early on in the play, obviously there's only one cot, so there's kind of like, well, why is he being let in there? And the assumption is that, he kind of he even says, I run this joint, so you're mine to do it with whatever. So he's probably used to the guards giving him somebody. But the other thing was, if you watch, Hartigan leads in Murphy instead of the other way around. Normally it'd be the prisoner would go in first. Well, Hartigan goes in first, which is unusual. And then there's the clue, just call if you need anything, Mr. Murphy.
Okay.
And then it was like, oh, there's something not quite right here. And then the other thing that he does that's rather interesting is that stare where he's just not saying anything for a good 2 pages, he's getting control. So there's the clues are there, and then when it finally comes out that he's got total control of everything, it seems like more of a surprise, but it really shouldn't be because those clues are there.
There's a lot of things that give it a little bit more rewatchability, replayability. Other little Easter eggs, as they were. Like if you notice Murphy's costume, for example, he's got a belt on, and that's something that you wouldn't see a prisoner coming into jail. A belt buckle, that's a no-no. So I added that little thing too. There's little elements throughout the duration of the play. So watch it again and see how many of these things you can pick up on.
Yep.
So you spent time in jail, perhaps, then?
Never, ever.
You have so much knowledge of the place.
Oh, it's just for research purposes.
Well, just
Oh,
like
that's
everybody
great.
else, I watch TV. That's where all my knowledge
That's
is
how we
taken
know.
from.
We watch TV, exactly. One final question for you. Just either one of you can chime in on this. Your reflections of Playwrights Roundtable and how it is a nice vehicle here in Central Florida to help aspiring playwrights and directors as well as actors get that opportunity to showcase their work.
I've been in a couple of other locations, doing some work in Tampa and Memphis and Cincinnati, and this sort of vehicle doesn't exist in a lot of these markets, these middle markets. It's not New York, it's not LA, but there is a lot of arts here. There's a lot of talented people, and Playwrights Roundtable really is one of the few places that lets new work come in all the time, and it's really exciting. New work, new actors, new pieces, new directors.
Yep.
It's what theater should be, a bunch of people coming together for the first time to tell a story. And it's really the heart of theater. So I really appreciate what these people do.
I have nothing to add to that. That's
Couldn't
awesome.
have said it better.
Couldn't have said it better. Yeah, that's one of the things we try to accomplish with Playwrights Roundtable. It's giving the voice out there, seeing it on the stage, public readings, so the playwright can hear and see what's going on. Because a play doesn't truly start existing until we get the actors and directors on it and start hammering out some stuff, and the playwright will hear or see things that they weren't able to see before, and it's the collaborative process, and that's at the heart of everything that we do. And the final result is like what you see here. It's some very good work.
Well, Chuck and Eric, thank you very much for coming and sharing your reflections on the world's greatest hypnotist and giving us some insight into your writer's mind and your director's mind too. Congratulations on your debut. We hope to see your work again.
Thank you very much. Hope to be
Absolutely.
involved.
Okay. Thank you for joining us on Playwrights Roundtable. I hope you enjoyed the world's greatest hypnotist. Come back and join us again soon for another episode of Playwrights Roundtable, where we review one-act plays produced by original artists right here in Central Florida. Take care. Playwrights Roundtable provides opportunities for authors to have their work read by professional actors. Members of Playwrights Roundtable have seen their works go from cold readings to workshop productions and on to successful full productions. If you love the craft, Playwrights Roundtable is the place. For more information, contact Playwrights Roundtable at 407-788-8468 or check out the website www.playwrightsroundtable.org.